Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, August 16th, 2018, and I hope everyone is having a beautiful day in the Lord. And I wish I can say that for myself because I've been trying to get to bring these next words out to you, and I have been under the most horrible assault imaginable. And by the time I came up to go to bed last night, till the time I got out of bed, I could have wrote a book about all the different spiritual swinging this way and that way that happened to me. A lot of condemnation and persecution, and I believe this is because of the first level of word that I put out there, which was so powerful. And then in between that and this word, I had such horrible assaults that Satan does not want me to give this out. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to say a prayer for me to give me strength and endurance to withstand the internal persecution that's coming at me. Okay, I don't usually ask anybody for anything, but I'm asking you for this. Okay, now bear with me because there's a couple of words that the Father gave me. This is the second part. This next word that the Father gave me is two words. All right, it's called PSYOP convergence. All right, now a PSYOP is psychological warfare. Excuse me. And it's coming, convergence means it's going to come together very quickly at once. All right, let me just give you a little background on PSYOP. PSYOPs is psychological warfare. It's propaganda. It's emotional manipulation. I'll give you the short right now. Let's see. Psychological warfare, or the basic aspects of modern psychological operations, have been known by many other names or terms, including MISO. Hearts and mind is political warfare, hearts and minds, and propaganda. The term is used to denote any action which is practiced mainly by psychological methods with the specific aim of evoking a planned psychological reaction in people. Now, what we're experiencing now between the division of the left and the right is propaganda, because what they put out evokes anger and hostility on one side of the political arena, and then all of a sudden what came out about that is no longer true anymore, and now the next thing that comes out is favoring the right or the left, and the right is getting enraged. You see, this is the division and the chaos, and they're using this to divide. Various techniques are used and are aimed at influencing a target audience's value system, right? So you see, the left challenges the right's moral values and belief systems and emotions and motives and reasonings or behavior. And so the right gets enraged with the immorality expressed by the left. Okay? It is used to induce confessions or reinforce attitudes and behaviors favorable to the originator's objectives, and are sometimes combined with black operations or false flag tactics. Now, false flag tactics are sometimes when we see an event, a tragic event that may have been staged to evoke fear. It also is used to destroy the morale of enemies through tactics that aim to depress troops and psychological states. Target audiences can be governments, organizations, or groups, and individuals. Now, if you look at Facebook, and you look at Twitter, and you look at all the social media platforms, including YouTube, these are all being used, and some of them are troll messages to put up, especially to enrage the people, to get them to take up a cause for either one side or the other. And it is not just limited to soldiers. Civilians of foreign territories can also be targeted by technology and media so as to cause an effect in the government of their country. So if the country wants to bring about this one world order, this is one way that they begin to take down and weaken. They weaken the civilians in the country by creating this emotional stress and division and chaos. Okay? And propaganda, which is another form of psychological warfare, discusses a common peace policy practice between nations as a form of indirect aggression. This type of propaganda drains the public opinion of an opposing regime by stripping away its power on public opinion. All right. Now, this is the gathering of all the information on Facebook and the fact that we don't have any privacy, because they are monitoring all our opinions and all the rages that take place on YouTube and on Facebook and everything. They're actually, it's providing the feedback for them of what they're putting out in the mainstream media, if it's having an effect, a positive effect, to bring about what they want to bring about. So that's how they're monitoring if their plan is working. This form of aggression is hard to defend against because no international court of justice is capable of protecting against psychological aggression, since it cannot be legally adjudicated. Here, the propagandists dealing with foreign adversary whose morale he seeks to destroy by psychological means, so that the opponent begins to doubt the validity of his beliefs and actions. All right. Now, you see this, right? You see that we're living this in this country. It's also fake news. I'll give you another piece. It says the propaganda was used in the war times when they would drop leaflets and pamphlets and use loudspeakers, to blast messages. And they would say that we're going to attack you, and there were intimidation tactics and all of that. This is all psychological warfare. And it says, I'm going to read this to you, is very important. It says, although the method of presentation may have changed from these World War I and World War II, the core methods and practices at the heart of United States PSYOPs have remained essentially unchanged for much of the last century. Modern PSYOP techniques include many of the same ideas that have been used since the formation of modern psychological warfare programs. With the advent of cyberspace, however, militaries around the world are preparing themselves to fight a new form of information warfare in the newest battlefront, the internet. Just as the airplane and radio opened up new channels for disseminating propaganda, that's when they dropped the pamphlets and the leaflets down from the airplanes into the countries. Just as the airplane and radio opened up new channels for disseminating propaganda and false information, listen to that, false information. Today we don't know what to believe, right? So too has the advent of the internet allowed militaries around the globe to bring PSYOP tactics into the cyber arena. And in the American context, this cyber warfare concept is coordinated under Cybercom, a subunit of Stratcom, one of the 9 unified commands of the Department of Defense. Although little is directly known about the current operational tactics and methods that are being deployed to bring PSYOP campaigns to the digital domain, numerous treaties, papers, articles, and open discussions are taking place in military journals, strategy documents, congressional subcommittees over the vital role that the internet is set to play in the 21st century psychological warfare campaigns. There are many aspects of psychological warfare programs that we will examine. The controversy over its use domestically, the manipulation and creation of fake news. This is a psychological warfare tactic, people. The use of psychological warfare in modern conflicts. But one of the most striking elements of modern PSYOP is how much of it is aimed at the troops themselves. So our soldiers are probably the first in line to be victims of this psychological warfare being used. For decades now, troops have been trained to believe that PSYOPs are little more than an adjunct to the PR campaigns that are used to sell military campaigns abroad. And inherently neutral or even positive in nature, they help in the creation of good relations between marauding imperial forces and what is euphemistically referred to as the host nation. Now, I would say that United States is the host nation, right? And probably Rome. In reality, modern PSYOP tactics are as the same as they have always been: the use of deception and persuasion to gain an advantage over enemy forces. Just because we live in a unipolar world with just one military force capable of projecting its power and deploying its troops anywhere in the globe does not mean that military is not constantly engaging in deception and psy-war tactics to gain strategic advantage over its erstwhile allies and partners across the globe. An ironic twist, perhaps, is the soldiers themselves who are the first victims of the psy-war propaganda. All right, so that is now. This is converging, coming together, because he said PSYOP convergence. Okay? Now, the second word he gave me after that, excuse me, now, the next word the Father gave me after this PSYOP convergence is theocracy. A theocracy is a system of government in which priests rule in the name of God. Now, I don't have to tell you there are 2 entities in the world that are a theocracy today, and were a theocracy in the time of Jesus, after Jesus died. Okay, it's the Vatican, Rome, and Islam. Okay, these are the 2 theocracies. So there is the convergence. Also means that not only are all these psychological tactics converging, but also these 2 theocracy theocracies are going to merge. And the next word the Lord gave me was shifting sands. And the meaning of shifting sands refers to something that is constantly changing, often making a person feel uncertain. Something that is very unpredictable is going to happen. And something that changes and happens with time. Examples of shifting sands are, I'm going to give you sentences here. It says, my husband has trouble maintaining a job in the shifting sands of the economy. All right, that means you can't predict what the economy is going to do, so it's very difficult. Our friends have been a real rock in the shifting sands of our lives the past few years. So that means, like, you know, your life could be turned upside down immediately. It is difficult to keep up with the shifting sands of technology. As soon as I understand one concept, another one is introduced. So how many of us can't keep up with even operating a television, or you know, a new phone that came out with its features? The shifting sands of war have taken their toll on many countries. It is impossible for their economy to recover until there is some stability. So that's what shifting sands means, and that's what the Father means by shifting sands, is that if you build your house on sand, the water comes and moves the sand with the tide, so that it's constantly changing. You cannot build your house on sand, which means that he's saying that to keep your faith solid on Jesus Christ, the rock. Okay, stay on Jesus Christ, the rock of your salvation. Okay, because all of this is going to come real fast. Okay? And then if we look at the merging of these two theocracies, the integration of Rome and Islam, we get Chrislam, but not the Chrislam that is been out there since the 1970s. Okay, see, both biblical Christianity and traditional Islam reject the modern attempts of Chrislam. Both of them, those theocracies, do. The Bible teaches that there is one God. We see that in Genesis 1:1, and Jesus Christ is the only way to God in John 14:6 and Acts 4:12. And Islam rejects the idea of Jesus as divine and rejects the Christian view of God as triune, and rejects the Christian belief in salvation by faith alone. Now, these two religions logically contradict one another in numerous ways. The only way in which these two belief systems can blend into one is to choose only one of those beliefs that fit one's preconceived notions, or to reinterpret both the Bible and the Quran to fit a particular agenda. Okay, so basically they have to find neutral ground within these two religions in order to come together as the one world religion. And this is what is going to be forced on everyone. Okay? And that's the end of my message from the Lord. And the confirmation that I got was that 2 days ago, I got a message in my email from YouTube that they took down my video. Remember the one that they took down a year ago? It had 1,200,000 views. And it was kicking up a storm. And the title of this video was the evil history, the true evil history of the Roman Catholic Church. It was an amazing, stunning documentary of how the Catholic Church developed, and from where it came, you know, the sun worship and how it came down with all the paganism. And it was probably one of the best videos I had ever seen. And I had it up, and it caused a lot of people to come to Christ. It caused a lot of arguing. It brought in a lot of subscribers to me. And they took it down, and they didn't give me a reason why. And a little while later, I put it back up. And it went slowly up to 50,000 views, because they had now restricted, when they took that down, they put algorithms on my channel to only make the views go up at a certain rate. Like, they may show that these videos were only getting 150 views when actually they were getting 2,000 views. Okay, and so they slowed down what the people saw of how fast this thing was gaining speed. And they took this down a second time 2 days ago, and they gave me a strike. And I had other videos that were on my channel that had copyright infringements on them, and this is the one they chose to remove. So it's the Vatican. They are working for the Vatican, protecting the Vatican, protecting the secrets of the Vatican. And the Vatican, of course, is the diplomatic entity that is going around the world bowing and kissing the Quran and all of that. So you see the connection here. All right. When you take a look next time at that dollar bill, and you turn it over and you see the capstone over the pyramid, just turn that capstone upside down, and it's a V for Vatican. Okay. All right. Turn it upside down, and it's a V. And that's who's behind all of it. It's Babylon. All right. And this is what's going to, the New World Order is Babylon. And now since then I've taken down all my documentary videos about the Catholic Church. I removed them all. I didn't want to give them any more reason to strike me, so I removed them all. I also took all my songs and I put them in a private playlist, and I tried to take anything down that had a copyright share to it. Not that they're going to need that to shut me down, but because they can do whatever the heck they want to do. But I'm bringing this out there to you now because I still have access to this platform. So and they not only removed it from my channel, but I checked and I searched it, and they removed it every single place that it existed. You will not find it anymore anywhere on YouTube. And I think that's a striking admission of who's behind YouTube, especially when Obama gave it away to the United Nations, and the Pope made a visit to the United Nations, and President Trump did not, through executive order, take back our internet from the United Nations. So everyone is planning, everyone out there around the whole globe is planning to converge everything into the New World Order. And it's going to happen very quickly, and this is what the Father is telling you. Told me to tell you. Okay? So if you haven't come to Jesus Christ, if you are here after the rapture takes place, you're going to live hell on earth here. Okay? You're going to live hell on earth. You need to come to Christ now. You need to. This is a warning from our Heavenly Father that it's as fast as you can clap your hands, it's going to happen. So don't click off. I'm going to put the salvation video right up behind this message from the Lord. And please, please, I'm begging you, take the free gift of grace that the Lord offered, because the age of grace is going to close when Jesus takes the church. And then we would be in a new age here called the tribulation period, which is going to last for 7 years. And you won't be able to buy or sell or eat anything unless you accept this new religion. You'll have to denounce Christ or they'll cut your head off. So please take heed, listen up. This message is from the Lord. Receive it, embrace it, and come to Jesus. I love you. Jesus loves you. Never forget how much he loves you. He's coming sooner than you think. Accept Jesus and keep looking up.